Okay, this morning I'm talking to the writers, and there's a question that a lot of writers think about when they first get into this, and it's when do you know your writing is good enough? And then the other question maybe good enough for what? This is a hard question to answer because either from a beginning standpoint up to being a best-selling author, there will always be someone who does not like your writing and do not like what you do. That's just the way it is. What we do is so subjective. How do you determine that you're at that point where your writing is satisfactory? My answer to that question is that it's all down to you. When you write a story and you let it simmer, let it sit for a while, you go back and read it. If you're happy with what you've written, then it's good enough. That's the bottom line. My approach to this whole thing is that you write what you're passionate about, you write what you love, and then you find people who like it and love it as much as you do. It's not about trying to go out and convince everybody that you're the best writer in the world or that they should read your story. That's what corporations do because they're trying to make money. For you personally as an author, it's about number one, are you happy with what you're writing? And if you decide that you want to make a living from this or sell your stories or have other people read it, then you basically put your stuff out in the world and you look for people who read your stuff and say, hey, I like that. I want to read more of that. It's as simple as that. Another thing that comes up with time that I think is an issue for writers is validation. When you do something creative, if you're a dancer, if you're a singer, if you're a musician, part of you being able to make a living from that is people looking at or listening to what you do and see it as something that they want to hear more of or see more of. And so a lot of times as writers, we're looking for someone to come and say, okay, this is what you're doing is great. There are people that have different opinions of it. I think for writers, it's a slippery slope because sometimes in seeking validation, we can be taken advantage of. There can be people who see we may have a raw talent and use their opinions or their persuasions to manipulate us to do things that's more in their best interest than in ours. And I think the best way to avoid that is to be very aware of what you're doing, what you want to accomplish, and being very attentive to those people who are talking to you, so you can understand at some point where they're not trying to help you become a better writer, but on the other hand, are trying to make you the writer that they think you should be. Now, when you deal with publishing companies, especially some of the larger publishing companies, sometimes their goal is to get you to write in a way that they feel appeals to their customer base, and that's their process. That's how they make their money, and I think sometimes that's the compromise that you have to make when you're dealing with those entities. But as an indie author, I don't think those compromises are necessary. It's something that you have to do. Some people will tell you, don't listen to your friends. Your friends are not writing experts. They don't know anything about writing. They tell you that they like your book. Then that's not really a validation. For me, it's just the opposite. If my friends are readers and they read all the time, and they read my story and they say they like it, then I'm good because readers know what they like. They know what they want. They don't like everything. That's like against the subjective thing. I'd give you a little story. The first person that read my first novel was my father. My father read all the time. I mean, always reading stuff. I mean, this man sat down and read the whole World Book Encyclopedia. For those of you who are old enough to know what I'm talking about, you know what that is. So when I finally finished my book, I finished Meji, I sent him the manuscript. And, I sent it to him and I went on my way because I know it's going to take time. I don't want to put any pressure on myself. So one day I was at home sitting down in our den and I said, Dad, did you, I said, Pops, I call him Pops. I said, Pops, did you read the manuscript? He said, yeah, I read the story. And I said, what do you think about it? So he looked at me and said, you're not going to get in any trouble about this, are you? And I'm like, get in trouble? What are you talking about? He said, you didn't see anybody else with this, did you? I'm like, no, Pop, I wrote this. And he was like, this is pretty good. And I laughed about it because it's almost like, he knew I was writing, but I guess he didn't expect whatever I was going to be writing to be that good in his opinion. So for me, it was kind of a backhanded compliment, but at the same time, that was my validation because I'm like, here's a man that reads all the time, and if he sat down and read my story, and he thought it was so good that he didn't believe I could write it, then that's like, hey, I must be doing something pretty good. But I guess I say all that is to number one, if you're happy with what you're writing, then that's good enough. And number two, if you're seeking validation, seek it from people whose opinions you respect. Be careful of people who don't want to help you write better the way that you want to write or your style of writing, but want to get you to write the way that they think you should write. And there's plenty of people out there doing that. So it may not be a clear answer, but that's the best that I got. Y'all take care. Peace.